11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
All right, welcome to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We run it live on YouTube and simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the live comments that are coming in from everybody that joins us live while the show is happening. We take the audio from that. Occasionally we'll post it over on iTunes as a podcast. If you are listening to the podcast over there, give us some feedback, and we'll do that on a more regular basis. We have 4 hosts. 3 of us are here now. Bob just fell out, so he'll probably be jumping back in from Canada. We got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Yep, glad to be here.
We got Smeggy jumping in from Michigan. Thanks for joining.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Pretty good. And then I'm down here in Arizona. So today is episode 317, and we'll be talking about Second Amendment issues, interpreting the Second Amendment through modern times, and then we'll be talking about good idea, bad idea, firearms on display, and then we'll have our hashtag Daily Gun Show showdown, where we look at the people using the hashtag Daily Gun Show over on Instagrams, and we talk about state of a state each week. This week we're talking about Nevada, I think, or else Nebraska. 1 of 2.
Or Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Actually, I just got a call from one of our attorneys, and they decided that it's Nevada.
Okay, we'll go with Nevada. Then let's see, what else do we have? We have a couple other things going on, and this is the time where we usually take a break to see if anything happened overnight worth talking about before we dig into the show.
Well, was that last night that that bombing happened in Manchester?
Yes.
Or was that the day before? I don't remember if we talked about it or
last
not.
night.
I mean, I don't want to jump to talk about it too soon without knowing exactly what happened, but it just seems like it was bad.
I mean, all I was able to gather at this point that we know for sure is that there are 22 people at this point that are dead as a result of that action in Manchester, England.
So that's pretty crappy. Our thoughts are with the English people, I guess.
And just passing in memory, I think it would be would not be fair if I did not note the passing of Z Island. One of our previous hosts is no longer with us, and he shall be missed greatly.
He will be He will be sadly missed.
Yes,
he will be sadly missed, but don't say the passing of him. What the heck are you doing, dude? He didn't die.
Okay. Yeah, Dano never communicated with people, or are you trying to do that intentionally?
I guess I just have a way with words, some people say. But of course, you know, if you interrupt me before I'm done speaking, then you're most likely to get a half-assed explanation. But take it away, Smeg.
Well, I got nothing. I just wanted to correct that before everyone had a heart attack. He didn't die.
Nobody was dying. I was still speaking. Words were still coming out of one's mouth.
Okay. Well, when you start with passing, that's people jump to conclusions.
And I like to use the word apparently. Smeggy, you jump to conclusions. I don't want you speaking for the whole audience.
Okay, I'm only speaking for myself. It sounded like you said something bad. So anyways, whatever. It sucks, but I guess, you know, life happens or whatever. So it was fun being on the show with him when he was here.
So Bob's having internet issues. He said when he can get back on, he'll keep trying. And we've got some stories. It sounds like he was telling us in pre-show before we do the Patreon pre-show whenever we can. So we turn the show on about an hour early and just have people in talking off air. And Bob was having a good connection then. He was telling us about his adventure coming back across the border from the U.S. into Canada with all his guns, and sounds like it was quite an adventure. So anyway, he'll jump in later and tell us about that when his internet permits it. Was there anything else that happened overnight? Matt's show was last night. I listened to Locked and Loaded. They had an interesting show, and then that kind of spread over into the lobby. They were talking about prepping. That's one of their big topics over there, and kind of started having some interesting debate. Then we also have something about something else last night. You were in there, Smeggy.
Oh yeah, in the lobby, the late night lobby, we were talking about
kind of like ethics, I guess, or like what would you do scenarios or something. It was kind of fun playing devil's advocate with each other and just having an interesting discussion. That was a good late night lobby last night.
Yeah, and that's it. I remember there was a couple things that we had brought up that a few times someone was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Like I'm going to change my way of thinking a little bit. So that's the thing. When you go run through scenarios, someone might bring something up where you're like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Oh, it was about calling the police, which I don't know. I think maybe we can do a topic on that on the Daily Show in the Concealed Carry at some point.
Yeah, if you would.
It's somewhere in August when we have an opening, but
you say go through and answer them because I forget. But yeah, a couple of those I think would be good topics, maybe for their own even their own show.
Can you just give us a sample of one of the topics?
Well, I think the one was the
mostly. Who was it? Theodore was asking. What was his question? Like something. It got to like if someone was robbing you or something.
Right, exactly, and it's I know one of them was
asking questions basically, and then we were just kind of spitballing the answers around, I think.
Yeah, and the one thing was like, let's say someone's robbing you, you pull a gun out, and they say, okay, never mind, they run away, and he was saying like, yeah, I wouldn't call the cops for that, and our point was, I'll say that my point was that you still want to call the cops on that because the dude you just pulled the gun on, he might run around the corner, then call the cops and say that like you tried to rob him or something. Like, criminals aren't known for telling the truth all the time. And so because you thought, oh, the incident's over, I'm just going to go home now, the cops roll up on you thinking you're the bad guy. And then you tell your side of the story. Well, they think you're just making it up because like whoever calls first gets the benefit of the doubt most of the time.
Crime still occurred. Just because the guy changed his mind doesn't mean a crime did not occur.
Well, yeah, that's another good point. So anyways, I think we could talk about that in the future.
That's true. But yeah, that was a pretty interesting discussion. Anybody wants to listen to it? I think it was it Moon's or Night Strikes? I don't think it was Pink's lobby.
I'm not sure whose it was. I just jumped in on the link. It should still be up on the lobby page as of right now.
That's a good point, and that's something we might as well talk about. We talk about these live conversations that we have over on gun channels in a place we call the lobby. We named it that when one bad Marine suggested it a long time ago. So it's really like a lobby. It was supposed to be like a waiting room, or what do they call that? What do you call a lobby in a movie theater, where you get like the concession and everything, where it's like is it called the lobby, like the area between all the different theaters?
I just thought it was called the concession area.
Well, whatever you call that, like community area, is what the lobby ended up or started out to be when there was all these scheduled shows and everyone sort of had their time slots, and people would, the audience would wait around for the various shows to start, or maybe a show would be gone that week or something. So anyway, the lobby just started up, and anyway, that's over on Gun Channels. It's the if you go up to the top of any page on Gun Channels, there's a menu, and it's in the live link there. And when you go to that page, like Smeggy said, most of the time when somebody starts a lobby, they leave the last one there so people can watch it and have something, usually 8 hours worth of something to listen to. Now, it might not be nonstop, but some days it is. And you can just kind of fast forward until you get to a point where there's a conversation. And if it's a conversation that's boring, you can just fast forward right through it. It's basically 8 hours of free content. just about every single night, if not 16 hours of free content every single day. And if you count the morning shows, then you've got almost 24 hours of live listening pleasure. Well, at least live listening content. All right, well, I guess we'll dig into the show some more. So we're going to hit into the Second Amendment issues, interpreting the Second Amendment through modern times. Or do you guys want to do Nevada first?
We can do the Second Amendment thing first.
So how are we going to interpret the Second Amendment through modern times?
It looks like it was Pink's Lobby, just for the record.
I think
So you can find that on YouTube under Pink's Lobby.
there are some people that want to view the Constitution through revisionist eyes. And there
So are you talking the whole like, well, because technology changed, it doesn't actually mean what, it used to mean or something? I'm not saying you're saying that, but some people will say that.
There is that group, yes. And then there's the group that, some words still mean exactly what they meant then as they do now. Shall means shall, it doesn't mean maybe. No means no. It doesn't mean, well, let me think about it. I think when it comes to, the Bill of Rights specifically was a very specific document, and they guarded their words very clearly. This is just my opinion. And that's why when it comes to the Bill of Rights, I am a strict constitutionalist in regards to its interpretation. In regards to other laws, I believe that some laws need to be either struck down entirely or slightly or heavily modified or totally enacted, depending on the times we live in. A simple example would be like the change in telephone technology when there were no telephones at all back in the 1700s, let alone the 1800s. And then when there were only telephones that were hardwired, and then there were these things called wireless telephones. Then you got wireless telephones that actually have computing capability.
Right, yeah. So sometimes there may be a law or regulation that was needed at first, but now, you don't need it.
Right.
Or it needs to change a little bit.
Yeah,
I tend to be the side getting less regulation.
The laws under wiretapping were written for hardwired telephone lines because that's the only technology that existed at that time that the criminal element used in scale. But the laws are starting to catch up or have partially caught up in certain areas in regards to cellular technology communication. Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm simply using it as an example of how laws change in regards to things that change, whether they're societal, cultural changes or whether they're technology changes.
Right, but I mean, getting back on the actual Second Amendment, I really don't understand how people can interpret it differently. I mean, we know what the founders meant when they said that. They were like, hey, people need to be able to protect themselves in the state, and so they should be allowed to have guns. And nothing about that has changed. And, you hear the people go off about, well, militias, we don't need militias anymore, blah, 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 all this stuff. But that's just a little part in front. Like, it's not super important in the fact that it's not the main point. The main point is shall not be infringed.
It seems that everyone can be divided on either one side or another of this issue in regards to either whether it's the Second Amendment, which is what we're talking, or the Bill of Rights. Either it's a living, breathing document or it's not. And how you fall on that issue will determine on how you fall on all the amendments underneath the Bill of Rights, specifically the second that we're talking about right now. You either believe that the Second Amendment is a living, breathing amendment, or it's not. In my opinion, it's not. but that's why I believe what I do. Because when it comes to human issues like the right to defend one's life, that has nothing to do with technology and is a basic human right. And that doesn't change.
So I don't know. You're saying by being a living document, has the potential to be changed, like it is vulnerable.
Yes, for people who believe that it's a living, breathing document, of which I am not one.
Yes, I mean, I do agree with the idea that when the Supreme Court comes up with some type of ruling, like that they're basically interpreting the Constitution. And so what they say, like from then on, is what it is until they change their mind again. And that's just kind of the system we do have set up. And so with that in mind, I would love to see a Supreme Court case just come down and be like, no, shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed. Like, get over it. That's the way it is. But they have yet to do that. Even when they do rule in a pro-gun way, it's always some type of caveat.
Well, the courts will always be a reflection of the times of which those members were born and lived in, whether that be liberal or whether that be conservative or something else.
Well, we're getting some feedback on both sides. YouTube DB saying the Constitution is a document that can be changed with amendments. That's one side, I guess. And then Matt's saying it's a dead document when the ink dried. I guess my concern is if we consider it just like gospel, like it was written, it's done, it's like there's no questioning it. That gives it a reverence and an unquestionability that requires some sort of devotion to it, like that. I think is that you don't that it encourages people to maybe rest on that, like we're done. It's in stone, like we don't have to worry about it anymore. It's done. Where if it is perceived as a malleable thing, then it requires eternal vigilance to keep it the way it is. And the fact that it stays the way it is a testimony to the fact that all the people who could change it to anything bad or even better, have decided to leave it where it's at. So I think it's got more value if it's managed, if it's changeable and we've decided not to change it, as opposed to being absolute and we just decide to walk with it, just acknowledge it and not question it.
But I certainly recognize exactly what you're saying in regard to at least in my opinion, the majority of people out there seem to view it as a malleable document, which is why we need to be vigilant. It's because so many people do believe that it is malleable and want to and are willing to change it.
Well, that's sort of the end result anyway. Yeah, exactly. No matter how you might feel about its state, then it doesn't matter. As long as there's somebody out there that thinks they can change it, they're going to attempt to, and that means we got to stop them from trying, or not, at least not stop them from trying, but stop them from succeeding.
Right. Exactly.
Unless they change it for the better, in which case then that'd be good.
No. See, that's the thing. If someone says it's a dead document, it needs to stay as written, then they don't get to that. Then it seems as though you could say, then why do we need the 10? Why do we need those 10 amendments if it's such a great document? You could almost write them away saying that. I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate with like a nickel's worth of knowledge or whatever. But I guess just do we get to take the changes for the quote unquote good? I don't know. I personally think I agree with Dano. I'd rather not see it changed. I think it is pretty solid and doesn't need to be changed, but I guess I can't think of everything that might be a better way of having it in there. we might have better. I mean, there was obviously clarity in some of the amendments that were pretty much for the majority good, right? Most of them are good.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at like I can't remember which founding father said it, but the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Clearly, that wasn't clear enough. That we had to come up with more words and more rules to clearly define that. Life, that's number 2. That we had to come up with a whole bunch of words to protect one's life.
Well, let's move on to the pursuit of happiness and move on to the next topic then, since I think we've saved the Second Amendment once again in just one segment of our show. That's a service we provide, and we do it for basically nothing. We do it for the pleasure of doing it. You're welcome.
Fantastic.
All right, so that'll take us into the good idea, bad idea segment. Normally Bob would be in here and we would have some sort of a feud because he'll usually go with the contrary no matter what the idea is. But we'll have to come up and see if anybody has a differing opinion on this one. So we'll be talking about good idea, bad idea is firearms on display. I'm not sure if we're going to specify in the home or someplace else or in the vehicle or something, but maybe even on your person. But vehicles on or firearms on display will be the topic. But before we jump in there, we like to take a break between the second segment of the show each day, feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community focused on firearms. It's membership driven. That's why we we feature one of the members each day. And today it's Catchbay. So Catch is a international member who has been to the U.S. a couple of times now. He's met some of us and been an interesting character. Again, we've talked about him before. Every time I talk about him, I mention when I built Gun Channels, I did not intend for it to be international. But in spite of that, a bunch of internationals showed up anyway. And I really think they've added a lot to the place. So I'm glad they have. And I think it's a great representation of not only Finland, but really, I'm going to say he's an ambassador of all of Europe for us.
Yep. And as bad as his gun laws are, he can go to the store and buy a suppressor and walk out the door. So they got one thing right over there.
He's a very interesting guy to talk to. I know I've talked to him many times. Late for me, certainly super late for him at night, and very interesting to get a Northern European. Very different from other Europeans in regards to the country that he lives in and their cultural traditions and laws, and how it's different than other European countries. So it's a great guy to have around, and glad that we have him.
All right, so good idea, bad idea. This week it's firearms on display. Sean on the YouTube side is asking, are we talking working firearms or non-working wall hangers? So I don't know if we're going to need to well, I'm sure there's a difference. So I don't know if we're talking firearms or what are we going with it. So I guess we'll just start with firearms on the wall at your house, looking at them like either on a plaque or in one of those wooden cases with glass doors, maybe just on some racks like Matt has at his place. So Dano, yes or no? Good idea, bad idea?
I'm really torn on this because I want to put some conditional statements in before I'm saying yes or no, but I'm going to say bad idea.
Smeggy?
Good idea.
And I'm going to go with
He's the tiebreaker.
I thought it would come to me, but yeah, I don't know. And I have to be the tiebreaker? Shit. I'm going to say good idea, I guess. Although I could just as easily be persuaded to say bad idea. Because there's too many qualifiers, right? Number one, you can always put them. You can have the hooks out and bring your guns out whenever friends are over. You just feel like looking at them and then put them away. And I know a lot of people that do that. So that's hard to say. So I'm saying yes. And that's my caveat, is that you can always put them away if you need to. But
yeah, I definitely like the idea of
your caveats in there.
I like that idea right there that you had mentioned, G, in regards to if you have a display on the with hooks and stuff on the wall, and when before company comes over, you bring out your display. But then after the evening is over and everybody's gone home for the evening, then you put it away. In that case, I'm going to say absolutely great idea. But leaving them out all the time, not so much.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I get it. Okay, if you're like going out of town or something, yeah, maybe put them away or something. But yeah, I don't know. It's I think just leave them up because you're not just showing off for your friends. Like maybe you want to see the things too. So that's
Well,
always
then bring
fun.
them out.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying I'd have them out even if I didn't have people coming over. But then
I
there
mean,
are other times if I'm having like friends of a friend come over or someone I don't really know, I don't necessarily want them to see all the stuff I have because how do I know that they're not friends with someone that's going to want to break in and take it or whatever? So
Exactly.
yeah, I can see the pros and cons of this.
I mean,
all
I
over
mean,
the
and
place.
there are times that I'll pull out one of my firearms when there's nobody coming over, just because I want to take a look at it, break it down, remember how it goes together, that sort of thing. Just kind of fool around with it, so to speak. That it's got nothing to do with anybody coming over. But absolutely, my concern in regards to company is not so much the person I'm inviting, but that guest he or she may have, and they may just off the cuff mention it to someone else that I have no idea who it is. And then suddenly, I'm a potential target for burglary, and they don't know whether it's out or not. And the last thing I want to do is give them the tool of choice that when I walk in the house and they're there, and then have that possibly be used against me.
Right. Well, I certainly don't think you should have loaded guns on display. But I
You
guess
cut out a
they
little bit
could.
there.
Well, I said I don't think you should have loaded guns on display.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that you might have, let's say, ammunition in your closet, a small amount, a box of this, a box of that, sort of a thing. And you may have that empty, Winchester lever action on your wall, and a box of 8 rounds or whatever, in your closet, because they will put one and one together eventually. And then there's the aspect of the financial loss. Are you properly insured for what you have? Is having a handful of firearms can be $2,500, 25,000, or 100,000 or more of a potential loss if you get burglarized.
There's probably laws there too. There's probably states where you can't put your guns out, right? Where they have to be locked up.
In your own home?
I know in Canada it's like that, right? Unless you're doing something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking the U.S.
Well, I'm thinking the U.S. too, but
I think there are states that have like
I don't
safe
know if
storage
they
law.
locked up all the time, but they might have storage laws, right? Where
Right.
they're secured or something. And I don't know if that means in a safe or just, but not hanging out. And I'm assuming that's what it means, because I guess that's one of those concerns is if you can see it, then obviously it means there's people running around stealing them like that all the time.
Well, I think a lot of the safe storage laws, it's a little sidetrack, but it is more they don't want kids to have access to them or whatever. So it's like if it's not in your immediate possession, you have to lock it up because a kid might get it. I just don't like when states make it a general law like that, and it applies to everyone whether they have kids in the house or not. And I think that's just silly.
Yeah. So, and that's part of, you should be aware of your legal laws, whether it's regards to home safety, whether it's regards to concealed carry. You should be aware of your gun laws. That's an obligation that you put upon yourself and part of responsible ownership.
Right. So let me ask you this then, going back to like let's say like a non-functioning like replica type gun.
Mhm.
Are you guys more inclined to say, yes, that's okay to just leave it up all the time because it's just like some old shotgun that doesn't work or whatever? Or would
Sure.
you still put them away all the time?
No, I'd probably keep it up. Because I know it can't be used against me. It's not the authentic thing, so it's not going to be worth $25,000 or $100,000.
Well, but your perception that somebody's going to see it or like be delivering pizza and see it on the wall and then peg you as a gun owner and now you're a target of thieves, it could be a airsoft gun on the wall and you're still going to get that. I mean, it's the concept of having a gun on the wall. You're showing it off. So you're talking about it from like the value level if it gets stolen, but I guess that doesn't, you still got the issue
Right.
of like somebody seeing it.
Absolutely.
So you could talk about where the thing is. I mean, I know people that have just secure rooms, right? They put extra locks and stuff on a door of their house. Maybe it's in a big closet off the master bedroom, so it's not necessarily off a main hallway or something. Maybe it's downstairs, depending on where they live in the country, or in a garage or an attic or something. And then they'll put like steel doors on it or lots of locks or one of those big cross bolt things that stops it from being kicked in. And then they'll effectively, make a gun room, and then they'll put guns up all over the walls in there. So, having them on display, I guess we're assuming that means like in the living room or something, or in the den, when it could be in a place where nobody is really going to just stumble across the room unless they're an intimate friend of the family, right? Like they're walking around your house.
Right.
What about in an office? That's interesting. Put them up behind your table, up behind your desk or whatever.
Well, I think as long as your business is related to that industry, because your business is the full point is to make money, and you don't want to alienate any potential people that are going to give you money, i.e., buy your product or service.
Alienate. You make even more money if you got a big shotgun or saw or something.
But if you're in the industry of selling paper cups to fast food restaurants, you're going to have pro-gun people and anti-gun people looking at your products, and you don't want to turn off people unnecessarily because you wanted to put something out there that was potentially controversial. Because the whole point of business is to make money, not to make good impressions about your hobby.
Have one of them things that says take a number and it's the pin on the grenade.
Yeah.
For the complaint department.
I mean, what that is, I think, a good example of is not mixing business with pleasure, sort of a thing. Because it's a potential it can come back and.
It depends on what you do for a business. Everybody I know having a gun in their office. Well, everybody I know has guns in their office, but as far as being on display, it would fit right in. If anything, it would be one of those things where you're like, oh, you put this up here for a reason. Let's look at it and see what's so good about it, or whatever. Start a conversation about it or something. But
again, and in fact, I even use an example of if you're in the paper cut industry for fast food restaurants, those major corporations are not interested in your little tidbits. But if you do happen to work, whether it be in the firearm, the supplies, ammunition, tactical stuff, apparel, whatever have you, other tools related to the industry, sure, of course.
So let's say everyone shamed gun ownership like Dano and wanted it to be hidden and they were embarrassed of it. We would never make any progress. No, we need to get that stuff out of the closets and out of the back rooms and out of the shadows. Clay is talking about a jewelry shop that had a display of historic firearms on the wall. I don't know if he's talking about for sale or not, but what about the ambassadorship of the Second Amendment by having, maybe it is old firearms or antiques or old replicas, maybe John Wayne guns or something, but some sort of friendly, grandfatherly Americana type of introduction to the Second Amendment, and start making it a fad, making it a thing to have your gun up on the wall.
Yeah, I mean that's I'm
That
I'm of
similarly
that
kind of goes to
mindset
what
also.
What?
I said that kind of goes to what Smeggy mentioned earlier, as far as having a replica or something out there, and I think that's perfectly fine. Especially if it's an artistic one that's done up really nice, whether it's spiral guns in a pattern or something like that, where it's decorative.
Yeah, or even if it's a real one. I mean, that's, I don't know. I like the idea of getting that stuff out there. Although I do understand the risk of someone might steal it, or like you said, a business, you might turn off potential clients if you're in sales or something. But I don't know. I think it's okay, fine, it depends. We all love caveats, but I'm still just gonna say good idea overall. The pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah, and I could be, I could go either way, I guess. Is
All
what I
right.
was trying to say from the very get-go.
We're gonna then have to go with good idea. So everybody who said the other way, turns out you're wrong. So
Okay.
Sorry, Dano.
Sounds good to me.
Go either way. So he's going the right way. So now we'll move into the next topic, which can be the gun shop of the day.
Nevada?
What? Oh wait, you wanted to do? Yeah, let's talk about Nevada.
Okay. Every Tuesday we try to pick a state and kind of do a review of the general gun laws for that state, and so we start off with kind of a state of the state sort of thing, and this is for Nevada. You had that correct. And some of this may require a little bit of explanation.
Let's see.
But let me go ahead.
We got quite a few people watching right now, so chime in if you're in Nevada. I think we have a couple of listeners in Nevada.
Yeah.
So he's
standing
on second from there. Is he out there somewhere? I don't see him. Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead, Dano. What's the state of the state?
Okay. Yeah, standing on second does live, I believe, in Nevada. So first item, permit to purchase is not required for either long guns or handguns. In regards to firearm registration, there is none. Under owner licenses like we have in Illinois, a 4A card, there is none. Under concealed carry permits being required, not for rifle, it does say yes for handgun, but then it also says Nevada is a shall issue state for concealed carry. Open carry is
I thought except for, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but I thought like if you're in Las Vegas County, it's very hard to get a concealed carry permit.
Right, and lower down we'll talk about state preemption, which is that exact issue. In fact, we might as well go ahead about it now and talk about it now for a second. Is that large cities over a certain size, like Las Vegas, can kind of do their own thing, or if they're in a county that's over a certain size, 700,000, they can kind of do their own thing in regards to handguns or long guns, and that's exactly what Smeggy's talking about. So next is open carry permitted for both long guns and handguns. State preemption we just covered. There is no assault weapons laws. There are no magazine capacity restrictions. There are no state NFA restrictions. And there is a background check required for private sales for both long gun and handguns. And I have a note here that November 2016, Nevada voters approved a referendum changing the law to require background checks for private sales. So that is a recent change. So that is the state of the state for Nevada. So Smeggy, what do we got for Nevada in regards to possible things that may be going on in their either state house or their state senate?
All right. Well, there's something that actually just finished up. I had been watching it for a while here, and it's one of those, in my opinion, small step type things, but it is a pro-gun thing, I believe, and that is basically you can get a concealed carry permit if you're over 18 but under 21 if you are in a branch of the armed service or the reserves or the National Guard, or you've been honorably discharged from one of those. So as long as you're not dishonorably discharged, you can get a concealed carry permit between the ages of 18 and 21. Whereas other people, they have to wait till they're 21 in order to get one. And as of, just want to get the date exactly. Oh, that was AB 118. In case you want to look it up, it's over on Every Second Matters under Nevada. But that was approved by the governor May 22nd. And it says effective May 22nd. So as of right now, if you're in the armed services, you can get a concealed carry permit in Nevada, even if you're under 21. I'd like to see them just go ahead and take that a step further and say, all right, like, you're an adult at 18, you know, you can vote, you can do stuff, blah, blah, blah. You're an adult, you can carry. I don't like the idea that people are kind of adults, but still not quite. They got to hold out for another 3 years. But that's just a personal thing. And so it's not really going on right now because it just ended a few days ago. Oh, wait, that was yesterday. Oh, yeah. That's only the 23rd. I thought it was a little bit later than that. So that's something that happened overnight yesterday. I didn't even realize it. Other than that, I don't see anything else going on in Nevada. Now, I could be wrong, but the things I was searching, I didn't see anything else actively going through, committees or anything like that.
Gotcha. And Squib out in the chat is saying that Nevada is an okay state to move to, and certainly gun laws, I would certainly agree with them over the states we've reviewed so far.
I think it's like middle-ish. It's not the worst, but that universal background check really takes it down a peg in my book.
Yeah, that really makes it tough. So that also means that they were apathetic, and they need a not apathetic. I don't want to discourage them because their efforts against millions of dollars were monumental, but it means that the population isn't motivated, or I don't know, hasn't had a call to be motivated yet. So that, I don't know, I guess maybe that's a reason to go, to get part of that, to be part of that.
Yeah, and that's one of those ones, that's definitely a state where the tourism board takes out-of-state calls very seriously. So that's something that, anyone can influence them. You call them up, be like, I was thinking of vacationing there, but your gun laws suck. You should change those. And they'll actually care because that's money coming into the state.
You also don't have to pay taxes because all the gamblers pay your taxes for you. That's nice.
Yeah,
but it's probably too hot. I wouldn't want to live there.
There's air conditioning everywhere. There's tunnels.
I wonder, and I don't want to assume that Nevada is one of those states somewhat similar to Illinois in regards to it only takes one or two major cities to literally drive the whole state in one direction.
I'm pretty sure it only has one major city, and the rest is desert.
And then
Reno is not a teeny tiny little town.
It's the biggest little city in the world.
Yeah. So, anything else in regards to the state of Nevada before we move along here? All right.
Well, I did.
Oh. Do you have something?
Yeah, I was going to add a little something extra to the show.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. That was pretty good. Show us, interrupt us. It's time for the tactical pop quiz of the day. They're coming. Go for your bomb shelters. They're coming.
Oh, right. My.
Enough of that. Time for the tactical pop quiz of the day. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on gun channels, put your cursor down in the text box, limber up your fingers. Mr. Smeggy, are you available to officiate for today?
Yeah, I think so. Okay,
it's a two-part answer for today. Both parts must be on one line. No separating them out. So if you put one part and then later on put the other part, that doesn't count. Got to put both parts on the same line.
Yep.
So it'll be
I was
X
about
and
to
Y.
ask you about the part in parentheses, but I think that's just an
Yeah, that's just
expansion
fluff.
of the other part.
Yes.
Okay, so either
All
one
right.
of those work. All right.
And I shall read the question twice. Today's question was sent in by CycleCamp. So any questions or concerns, send them to CycleCamp. And the question is as follows. What was the name, What was the model name of the 22 pistol produced by Whammo and the semi-automatic airgun frame was used based on? What was the model name of the 22 produced by Whammo? It's part 2. And what was the semi-automatic gas airgun frame it was based on? 2-part answer.
Russians is not the answer.
Nor is Smith & Wesson.
Whammo is correct. Power Master Mark IV.
Both parts in the same line. We're not.
Whammo
Okay.
Power Master.
Chris
No.
on gun channels. Is that the one you're looking at? Chris
What?
on gun channels has it.
Oh, he does?
Since when?
Let me double check.
Not according to my screen, he doesn't.
Oh,
He
I'm
said
sorry.
Whammo Power Master.
I'm
So
sorry.
not
He has
Chris.
half of it.
No.
Doesn't have it. More like he's trying to steal it.
Power Master Luger is incorrect. But I think the guys are getting they're sniffing in on the
Yeah.
answer.
It's
Yeah, he
Smeggy's-
did sniff out half of it, so I'll give him half credit. False winner. I like that, Matt.
Power Master Luger is not it. We're not even getting answers anymore.
I think the part they're having difficult with is what semi-automatic air gun frame was it based on? That's the part they're having difficult with.
So Power Master, and then they're saying a bunch of other things.
Yeah,
It's
the
not
other thing
based
that
on
we're-
the Daisy.
Now, beat up Cycle Camp, y'all, corner
Not
him
based
in
on
an
the
alley.
1911.
This is a killer.
Nope, it's not based on the Daisy. It's the second time someone said Daisy.
Oh my
Now,
goodness.
if you're frustrated, take your frustration out on Cycle Camp.
No, take your
Hey.
frustration out on not having the knowledge.
Yeah. On Google, not being able to bring it up for you.
I guess we'll just move this on.
All right. Well, you know what? It's happened before. Actually, I don't think it's happened before. It's almost happened before, where at the last minute we were about to pause it and throw it back into the hopper.
There we go.
But
We got one.
What?
we got one.
On the YouTube side, Mel Smith.
Oh,
Mel Smith. Congratulations. The answer that we were looking for is Power Master and Hyde, also known as Floyd Hyde Engineering. Power Master and Hyde. Those were the answers we were looking for. And you said on YouTube it was Chris?
No, it was Mel Smith. Quit giving it
Mel
to Chris.
Smith.
Chris did not win.
Yep, Smith.
Mel,
Mel
you keep trying to give
Mel
it to
Smith.
Chris, but
Mel Smith.
yeah, Mel Smith, not Chris.
Today's winner. Shut up, Bob. I'm doing my thing. Mel Smith, you two, be quiet for a minute.
No,
Just a
I don't want
minute.
to.
Just a minute.
Was it Chris Smith or Mel Smith? I thought it was Chris Smith.
I think it's Chris.
Okay, head on over to
Smith and Smith.
dailygunshow.com/pop quiz. Fill out the form, put your first and second choice, and congratulations. You are today's tactical pop quiz winner.
Yes, Mel Smith on the YouTube side. Getting it in right before Sean Ponery on the gun channel side. So YouTube beat the lag. That makes you today's tactical hot shot of the day.
And I also
well
think
done,
it's
Maggie. Well done.
I think it's worth mentioning that YouTube lag can be overcome with quality information.
But it's
So it just
better
goes to prove you can't win.
it'd be even better if you just joined gun channels and watched it there.
And a difficult enough question that there's not a bunch of people just answering it right off the pop. So we're sending you over to dailygunshow.com, and then we have a page over there called Pop Quiz, where we have a picture of a patch panel. There's some patches that we make ourselves here in Tucson. There's some patches that are our design that are made for us. Then we have some that were sourced for us out at the NRA show. Pink Panther sent us in a bunch of these. A bunch of them came from people that are creating patches on their own that wanted to contribute patches to the panel. We got some from Autoloader or Moon Food in here as well, and then some that we've bought at gun shows along the way. So lots of different stuff there. So all different kinds of tastes and preferences that you might have. And we take pictures of it about once a week whenever we lose enough off of the patch panel to make it look a little different. We'll take another picture and post it up there. So it's a way that we can say thanks to the people that watch us live, and every once in a while we do something remotely, like with an email or something, to include the people that listen to us after the live show happens. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching live. We do appreciate it, and encourage people to join in. When you get the patches, we ask you to share them with the hashtag Daily Gun Show, which is what we can transition into next.
Well, don't we have one other thing, a tidbit before that?
Let me get that music for you. There you go.
Okay. Speaking of silly things, we started a new thing here for a while called Tactical Tidbits. And we're going over gunfighting rules through tactical response. And yesterday's was move away from your attacker. Distance is your friend. Today's tactical gunfighting rule, number 6. Not being shot is more important than shooting the bad guy. And I think that's, although you would say, well, it would be obvious, but winning the fight is by hopefully not being in the fight, you've won.
But if you're tough enough, you'll just shed those bullets like raindrops and be able to move
Or you
in.
could be like Bob and be shot 6 times while you're trying to line up your shots. But not being shot is far more important than shooting the bad guy.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm going to sick some Camden boys on your ass if you don't straighten up and fly right.
Hey, better to go down fighting the bear than to go down running away from the bear.
No, you're going to go down either way, mister. Because I know the real deal operators. I got the number, and I got yours.
Holy shit.
And if Z was here, he'd smack you down.
He ain't here. We just got Smeggy. He's kind of a lightweight bouncer.
But he's got heart. He's got true heart.
Yeah, he's that like skinny, 6 foot or 5'11" guy that decides he wants to be a bouncer in the toughest bar in town, and he gets a job there, and mostly he just stands back and watches the big guys take care of things. Going, I'll learn this stuff by osmosis.
I don't like that you just insulted me by calling me short and saying I'm only 6 foot.
Oh,
I think that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, okay. So
you're right about the other part. I can totally hold my own in the toughest bar in town because I'm that awesome. So you were right about that part.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But I'm not short. I'm not 6
6
foot.
foot whatever. 6 foot whatever, but you're only 130 pounds. Yeah, I know.
It sounds to me like Bob has some kind of what is that movie? That Swayze movie, fantasy about Smeggy being a bouncer.
Oh yeah,
Roadhouse.
That roadside bar thing.
Roadhouse.
And a Roadhouse fantasy about Smeggy. So I think we can move on.
Yeah, movie of the day, Roadhouse, because there was a shotgun in it. I think there was a couple of pistols in it.
Okay, so let's move on, G.
All right. So were you done with your tactical tidbit?
Am I done? Were you not paying attention, sir?
It got mutilated. So
Well,
I wasn't.
it did, thanks to Bob. But
Smeggy's fault. I didn't do it. It was Smeggy.
All right.
you know.
So I think we were going to move into. Forgot what we were moving into. I'm going to look over here again. We were about to move into.
The showdown?
Yes. Thank you. So
Okay.
got to go over to the Instagram and we'll grab the hashtag Daily Gun Show out of there. So anybody that uses the
Oh. How can somebody put a rotary cannon in there and not expect to win?
oh, I don't count. I'm just putting them in there to put them in there. So I forgot where we were at last week. Do you guys remember? Does anybody take a look?
I'd have to refresh my memory here real quick.
I'm looking.
Or just start scrolling down and we'll figure it out.
Oh, that's
Rotary cannon wins.
Or is that too loose for this show?
We're just trying to figure out because I know we write it down each week. Thought we did Friday, Thursday.
In the spreadsheet? Is that where we write it down? In
Yeah.
the spreadsheet?
I guess we didn't write it down last week.
Because we got a guy that just loves spreadsheets.
Dang it, we didn't write it down last week. So last time we wrote it down, it was 251.
And it's 367 today. So that's pretty good. So over 100 in 2 weeks. So we probably got 50 this week.
367. I think it was about 50 last week, if I can remember right.
Let's go down to about 300 and see what looks familiar.
Oh, well, yeah. Now we have to go down to the most recent ones here, and then usually scroll down until we find where they started. I remember seeing this one from Tony.
With
I
the
remember
silencer thing?
Yeah, the G3 or whatever it was. I remember seeing these, though, right?
Yeah, that was last week. So we're starting.
Yeah.
This is Bob eating that giant breakfast.
Yeah. Where he gave most of it to his dog, who then poops every hour on the hour.
Actually, we saw all of these, I think, last week, right? I don't know about this one.
Quit picking on my dog. It was the water.
Uh-huh. So this is Jimmy's big-ass revolver, some kind of electronic nightstick. You can get together with Bob and his electronic cane. And then some kind of a machete, and a wallet.
I kind of like that.
Oh, that's a nice one. These mountains and stuff. These hills back here.
Chris does have a way of picking out some beautiful scenery for his shots.
I like this one. It's a 22 of some sort, I'm guessing. Or maybe something bigger with the 22 caliber. Does it say up here?
Isn't that basically a AR-15? Is this 22, really?
It's true. It says AR right here, so.
Yeah, there you go. It's an AR-15 22 gopher gun with a dog behind it.
Yeah, it's a good one, too. He's angled right. He looks good.
Does
Yeah.
Bob need to go into timeout? He's just not participating well today.
What the hell are you talking about?
Next,
You're
we got
poo-pooing everybody's stuff.
a hat and
Gun
Gun Channel's patch. Rest of his EDC.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that one. Got Artisan Tony posting this picture, a bunch of guns.
Oh, I like his wood AR. I really like that wood AR. I think that's kind of cool.
Then about 2 years ago he did that?
I think
I
so.
love
Yeah.
that already. Yeah.
That's that ironwood.
Yeah.
Well, ironwood. Yeah, really nice stuff.
I think that one's cool and artistic.
Here's the sticker pack that went out last week or whatever. Here's Angry. He's got the Arizona flag upside down.
Is that a 26 or a 27, do you think?
Well, he
That's
loses
27.
for having the flag upside down, number one.
There's 27 over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I let him know so he can take another
Yeah.
picture. There's that
Sorry,
one from Tony.
Can't win on that one. HK full auto. Oh, I like an HK. Oh, look at the wood on that baby.
We must hear you saying that, Bob.
It's the way he says it.
Uh-huh.
What the heck, you guys?
And Jimmy doing the EW for the early watch.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
Yeah. Slick.
Another one from Chris.
Yeah, look how far away that one is from the river.
Yeah. But, it could have fallen off this way. We don't know.
No.
He's risking it. Plus, is this Smith or Springfield, I mean? So
That's a Springfield XDS.
yeah. Kudos for going out there and not throwing away your Springfields or throwing them in the lake or whatever.
Oh yeah, that takes a lot of self-control.
A lot of self-control, yeah.
Oh, wait. This is multi one.
He's really focusing on that Arizona being the correct way.
I like the minigun. I want the minigun. And I wouldn't let my dog have a gun. Oh, God, no. He'd shoot me.
Yeah, you probably would.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Like, he's just a klutz.
He's on guard.
What's up
Well,
with
he
this?
trying to. He'd do it by accident because he's that kind of dog.
So that stuff's got snow all over the place.
Oh, yeah, that's an old picture. That's all. Maybe he made his own snow. He's that, like, high baller or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Big ballers, high ballers.
I really like this one.
Yeah, you put it on. Don't
The
think
jacket?
he put it on there. I think he just set it on that windbreaker.
Oh, he did? I thought he had commitment.
Oh, yeah, I bet he didn't commit to it. Because he probably wants to date girls in Colombia.
So this is in Colombia.
Oh, it was a Columbia jacket, man. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, exactly. You can only wear it at the school or the country. So this is when the other day we went on Kickstarter. That was yesterday, huh? And worked out pretty well. I killed it because I ruined the beginning of it by blowing out the mic on reverb, whatever it's called. But we'll do another one in a couple of days. It seems like another interesting aspect of their system over there on Kickstarter. Oh, that's pretty cool. Thanks for posting that for me. I think that looks pretty good. Anybody that wants to post stuff like this, I can in Instagram. It doesn't really help you unless you're going to put the link in your profile. But if you do want to do that, I thank you very much, and I can give you a special code that'll be the link with the code at the end, and then that'll tell me over on the dashboard. I'm still screen sharing, right?
Yep.
Over on the dashboard here, it'll see I can set up these little codes like this. So when I send them to people, I can see like my first YouTube video brought in one link or whatever, but my second YouTube video brought in 4 for $175. So that's kind of neat. So if you're going to be promoting the project, I'd be more than happy to set one up like that for you so that you can help see what kind of efforts you offer, so that if you're charging people or whatever, you got some idea of what your value is. I can't pay you, but I will definitely give you feedback. And then I'll also say thanks for anybody that wants to promote it like that. Let's see. So now we got another one from A1 from Frylock. It's got a cool assortment there. Interesting.
Okay, I think you're into the most recent ones now, unless that just popped up.
April 11th is most recent.
Or yeah, I mean, I think you're into like the favorites or whatever now.
Oh, it had to be.
Because April 11th was a long time ago.
All right. So where do we want?
Not that many this week.
You know what I'm going for? Well, maybe it's not so obvious, but I'm going for this dog one right here.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
I'm gonna go for the dog one too. I like the dog.
I kind of like the one that's kind of has the winter effect going on. You know, with the little bit of snow in the background. Yeah.
From Chris? Okay.
Yeah, change of the seasons.
And,
So we can do this.
and even though I think you guys are correct that he did not commit that much, I'm still going to go with the windbreaker with the tactical hot shot.
The windbreaker one?
Yeah. I think if you sew it on there and then repost it with proof that it's sewn on, like you'll get extra bonus points. So maybe you'll win next week if you do an updated picture with it actually sewn on.
And which one are you going with, Bob?
Dog with the gun.
This one?
Yeah, that one with he's got where he's behind the scope, behind that little gopher gun. Yeah.
Okay, well, here's what happens. Since Bob and I both voted on that one wins. This one doesn't even go to the audience. Y'all can look at them, but y'all don't get to vote. Every once in a while, it's a tiebreaker or something. We go to the audience, but I think this one wins this week. So, Dog Body, if you're listening, you won our tactical quiz.
Yep. That's because that's a cute dog. My Charlie would probably play with him unless he's he might be unneutered male. No, Charlie wouldn't like him at all.
Don't be peeking.
You on the Daily Gunshot Showdown this week.
Internet it chop P.
Let's see.
Piano's stroking out again.
No, he's just reading it like my keyboard types it.
Are you missing keys?
Hey, look at that. You can look at that. That's weird. Did you see what I did there?
It's what's happening? What's happening?
Look, I'm on this picture, but I haven't hit enter yet, right? But now I'm going to hit the right arrow on my keyboard. It kept the comment, but I'm on 2 pictures over. Now I'm hitting the left arrow, and I'm back to that comment again. So if I hit enter.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's super weird. So now I can just do this, and I could spam Instagram from a computer. Bam, bam.
Hey, great picture. Love your shot.
Yeah.
I bet you that's how all those annoying people do it.
Yeah, seriously. That's crazy. So we learned something here today. But we also learned that by putting a dog in the picture, you're probably going to win, because that's cheating. I'll be back.
Just because everybody here mostly loves dogs. Muslims hate dogs, by the way.
Why? Jesus Christ. Anyway, so good job. Who was that?
Without ever having to
Bodyguard or
tell,
something?
convince, or explain anything to anyone, would it be worth 3 minutes of your time?
Wow.
Right answer. That's what everyone says. Press 1 on your telephone keypad right now to hear it.
Let's do it. Let's do a live survey. Daily Gun Show.
3 minutes.
That's right.
New
You guys
segment.
want to listen to that 3 minutes?
And everybody like argues the answers, and then we give them a consensus answer. They're pulling that up so bad.
Consensus says.
I think that would be kind of funny. But anyways. All right, so we got through that. So good job.
Thanks
like I
for
said, whatever it was, but dog body guard or something. What the heck was his name again?
Dog Body Official.
Ah.
All right, so yeah, we do the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown every Tuesday, and you're encouraged to use the hashtag Daily Gun Show over on the Instagrams, and we look through them, we pick them like this. Every once in a while, when we come up with agreement on one of them, we'll let that one win. Otherwise, more often than not, we come up with a tie, usually a 4-way tie. We send them off to the audience, and then they decide. But either way, we have some fun with looking at some of the photos that people have tagged with our show, and that helps get the show recommended to more people and get more people interested in the show. So we do appreciate it. We have some fun with that, and it's another way that we can kind of play with the interactive nature of what we're doing here on the live hangouts and so forth. All right, so Too Hottie saying he wants to hear Bob's border story. Is your internet working, Bob? You've got a beer handy so we can listen?
Yeah.
So let's set the stage. Bob was in the country illegally, wore out his welcome. Too many ladies were mad, and too many fellas were looking for vengeance. So he was hightailing it north like he normally does for the international border, and on the run from the law. Now Bob can take over.
Not on the run from law, but anyway, I know what the laws are, and I'd done all my paperwork, so everything was and I had a nice little file folder next to me on the seat. So I get there, and my brothers always warned me, women are the worst. And I've always gone, ow, I don't know, but I've never had one, right? I always get to go, okay, there's your passport. All right, go ahead. They don't really care. They know I'm honest. And so anyway, this is the first time it actually gets
I'm not
searched.
sure the story needed to be so sexist, but I guess Bob's telling it, so it is what it is.
So anyway, I get to the border crossing, and she's like, oh, I have to check your guns in. And I'm like, yes, of course you do, right? That's your job. So I go and have to back up into a spot because it was a tiny border crossing, just two girls, women working there. But yeah, they were really funny. Like, you have to stand by the front of your truck while I search your trailer. And I'm like, really? Because I could help you open the gun cases and everything, right? A little later, where's the keys? Now, well, they're hanging up on the wall. She says there's like 1,000 keys hanging up there. So I tell her, it's one on this carabiner, with the green head on it and all this. So then she gets the gun cases open and comes back, and then we had arguments or talks about this gun's too short with the stock folded. You must have bought that in the States. And I'm like, no, I bought it in Canada. I got it from this website. Blah blah blah. Partner to go and look it up on the website. Same with my shock cane. She was arguing with barrel length on shotguns. It was really funny. I'm having to school a border guard. He's very polite, very professional. At no time did I feel like she was being pushy or anything like that. So I mean, she was good that way. I actually was kind of thinking of she was done, but then it was like, it's been an hour and a half. I just want to head out. So, but anyway, yeah, so it wasn't awful, but it was very thorough. Like, she went through everything in the trailer. The only thing she kind of said to me at the end was like, you should maybe use your vacuum more often. So I'm thinking, she was probably digging around and found lots of big things, a dog fur bed and shit, because it's like dust bunnies, but with my dog, it's poodles. Yeah, that's basically my story. She let me through after some, what about this? What about this? What about that? But, other than that, let me through. That was all good. It just took it, like I say, an hour and a half.
So didn't you have all the paperwork, though? Like, when you came down to the States, didn't you fill out paperwork to tell the U.S., like, hey, I'm bringing this stuff down with me? So she could have just cross-referenced and been like, oh, you had this when you came down, therefore it should be fine to go back in.
She didn't ask me about that, so it was still in the file folder. So, like, she came back and she couldn't find the serial number on the VZ58 because, like, it's just on the side of the receiver. I don't know how hard that is to find, but anyway. She couldn't find it. So I said, well, it's on the paperwork ATF before I came down. She's like, oh, you have that? And I'm like, of course I have it. But I ended up having to explain to her, like, I do, daily podcasts about stuff like this. So I'm obviously, when I get to the border, I'm going to at least make a modicum of an effort to have my paperwork in order, not doing anything illegal, because I want to come back next year with my guns.
Well, you might want to be careful now, because now she's listening to Daily Gun Show, and she just heard you say that women suck at being border guards.
I did give her my card, but I also said, like, said to her in person is, so what are you doing later? Because I'm thinking, it's a boring job in a small town on the border there. She might want to go out. She was like, probably in her. I'm thinking that's, she gets to carry a gun. That's pretty cool. I don't have a problem with, being around a lady who's carrying a gun.
She's already been intimate with Bob.
There's a lot of stuff about me most other people don't, because she went through everything.
I feel like he's saying it without saying it, but we all know what he's talking about.
I think so.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying, like, she went through my dirty laundry basket, man.
Yep. Well, that's Bob's story. So he's back in Canada. And do you have plans next?
I'm still rusty. I've been sleeping like 12 hours a day. I just got my phone working again, so my Manitoba phone. I went on a couple times, but I'm using international roaming, and it's just ridiculous amounts of money. So yeah, I haven't really been doing that, but now I got my phone back. I should be pretty regular on the show, and I'm just got to decide whether I'm gonna like together try to get one more season out of it, just because it's like.
There we go. Now he's talking about dragging 16,000 pounds of fallen apart metal back through the country again.
One more year, and it's like I don't have to spend the money now. I keep my eye open for a nice camper van, like a nice Ford 350, 460 engine, and because I got a brand new engine and trans. Man, pop that in there. Yeah, I'll never get gas mileage, but you're never going to get mileage in a bus. Doesn't matter. So you get 10 miles per gallon, you get 10 miles per gallon. That's what I get in my truck now.
Well, why don't we do a van chat on it then?
Yeah.
About all his crazy ass theories of what he's going to do, and then he'll end up dragging the same camper back.
Probably, yep. Probably in the end, yep. With the motorcycle hanging off the back.
Now he's going to duct tape a motorcycle on the back of the thing that fell apart all this time.
Well, I'm going to reinforce the bumper and put a new one on.
All right, so stay tuned for another exciting explanation of how a Ranchero with a fifth wheel is really a good idea. And it's basically brand new after car rebuild. So with that.
With a bumper JB welded onto it.
It's good JB weld, though, from the States.
It's bolted through the frame and it's welded, man.
It's got the JB going through some of the screw holes, so it kind of squished through. That makes it hold extra well. All right.
So what's the gun shop of the day?
Yeah, we're talking about gun shops of the day. Every day we like to talk about a new gun shop. This week we're talking about gun ranges, though, shooting ranges. And today it's Pima Pistol Club. I don't have any videos of it or anything. I mean, I do have videos of it. We don't have anything prepared for today. So this will be one of the days where we just do the theoretical gun shop of the day, except it's a theoretical gun range of the day. It's been in Tucson for a long, long time. It's up on the north side of Tucson. It's predominantly pistol, called Pima Pistol Club, but they do have some ranges. They have a long distance range there. It's like 200 yards, maybe a little bit longer for rifle and long range pistol. There's mostly pistol based, though. A lot of action ranges. That's where quite a few of the sporting competitive type of stuff is held in Tucson. It's up on the north side where all the old people live, where a lot of old people retire to. So it's kind of a sleepy part of town. It's grown up around the range. It used to be out in the middle of nowhere.
Now, great. Huh? Sounds great, man. If you're older, the loud noises don't bother you, so you probably don't even notice the shooting.
It must have been, and it's up in the foothills, really hilly foothills. So it's down in the bottom of like whatever you want to call like a valley, and I'm sure most of that noise goes straight up. You don't really hear it from the sides because it's so far down.
Probably the sides of the hills helps absorb it too, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Except that now there are quite a few houses around it. There's always been ranches around it who don't care. So it's probably at some risk of being ending at some point. But unlike a range that's not getting any use, it is getting quite a bit of use. So that's got that going for it. And it's the range where Forgotten Weapons and In Range do all their shooting videos, or most of their shooting videos and stuff. And they've been involved with the what used to be called the Axe Match out there for a long, long time. And because it's got such that and all the other events that go on out there have such strong participation, I can't imagine the range is going anywhere anytime soon. But I don't pay that much attention to it. It's like more than an hour. It takes almost an hour to get there from here. So I don't go there that often anymore. And so I might not be up on the news about it. So if it's something that you're interested in, if you're going to be on the north side of Tucson or just coming to Tucson and want to see that range for some reason, you might want to check out their website. I'm pretty sure it's pimapistol.org. And with that, we will suggest anytime you want to recommend a gun shop or a gun shop or a shooting range that we could feature here on the show. Remember that you take a camera with you every time you go into it, more than likely on your phone. So just ask if it's okay to take some pictures, and if it is, take some and post them on your whatever social media platform you like to use. Send us a link to that, and we'll be happy to help spread the word about whatever is unique or interesting about that shop. If you'd like to come on and talk about it, we can talk about that too. We're more than happy to have guest hosts once in a while. So with that, we can move on to, I don't know, gun of the day, I guess.
Sure. So what is this gun? I didn't pick this one. This is something new on me.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on with you, so I just picked a bunch this week. And
derringer. I mean, like, that's not even really a gun, is it?
it's a high standard. You like high standards, I thought.
Like,
So,
well, I guess some high standards are okay.
well, what's unique about this one is a couple of things. One, it opens more like a double barrel or over and under shotgun, so it's break open, but unlike a Remington style derringer that hinges at the rear sight and kind of the barrels flip all around weird, this one, what's wrong with YouTube? This one just hinges forward like a regular single barrel or double barrel shotgun might do, a break action.
That would be cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, so it's way easier to reload and load. And you can see it's got a little gizmo, the little part that, I don't know why the video's not loading. Let's go put this thing.
I think I watched it. And it's a little 22 rimfire, the one you got. Right?
Yeah. But whenever the thing will actually open here, there's a little lock that holds everything together. And when you pull that up, that little lever ejects. So it's a little mechanical ejection. It works out pretty good. You don't need to worry about springs. And it all kind of holds back together when you close it. The other nice thing about this over other derringers is that it's double action. So there's none of that BS trying to pull a hammer back impossible far and readjusting your grip and everything. This is a really long, deliberate trigger pull. That's your only real safety, but it is just a double action. So you pull this thing, the trigger twice, it's shooting twice, and it's 22 Magnum, I think. So
yeah. See, 22
that's kind of interesting. There's no trigger guard though.
There is kinda, but not really. But
like not in the front part. So yeah, I guess I'm happy that it's a very heavy and long trigger pull, because that seems a bit
dangerous.
Yeah, not ideal, I think I would say.
I think if they put a trigger guard on it, like a nice big one that would kind of go all the way to the front of the barrel, that would.
But then how would it? It's probably they had a problem, because how does it hinge forward then? You'd have to have like the trigger guard slide or something weird or whatever.
Hinge pins, right? One on the, and then one right in front of the trigger. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, it could be done, but obviously they decided that.
Yeah, added extra cost. But I don't know. I don't like the idea of the open trigger. I fired guns like that have that kind of trigger pull, and yeah, they're probably safe, but I don't know. Just bend down the wrong way, it goes around your leg the wrong way. Your leg gets on that trigger, and
what the hell happens in Bob's pants? I don't know.
Maybe fat on your legs. It goes in the trigger, and next thing you know, it's pulled the trigger and shot your toe off your left foot. I'm just saying.
Well, if you keep octopuses in your pocket like Bob obviously does, then this would not be the gun for you.
You can't keep octopuses in your pocket. They dry out, and then they're not any good for anything.
No, you put them in a plastic bag, and then you throw them on the ice when the Wings win.
Oh.
Obviously.
Yeah, but you can't really keep them in your pocket unless, I guess, if you line your pocket with plastic and water, but that's ridiculous.
No, you put them in a plastic bag and then put the plastic bag in your pocket.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous, man. Who wants to have a pet that you have to put in a plastic bag? That's
all
crazy.
Right. So this is the high standard derringer, double action, and I would say one of the more useful of the tiny derringers if you're actually thinking about one for defense use, but I don't think they're made anymore. I might be wrong, and I'm not sure what their dependability is in the long run. I've only ever seen them as like novelty guns people had to like, oh, look at what I got. Nobody ever carried one.
Well, I could see it for a woman to put in her purse, right? Because then she's got this gun, it's got 2 shots. If somebody threatens her, it's just like, I've got a gun.
No, I honestly don't think so. I wouldn't. I mean, if you're going to carry around, I don't know if you saw when I put on the scale there. That's a big stainless steel gun, so it's got weight. If you're going to task somebody with carrying around a double action gun, I would, and especially in a purse, now you're getting into realms where who knows what's going on with that trigger and where it's fallen and the lipstick and I don't know, whatever, change purse, who knows what goes on in a purse. So now I'm thinking a real revolver with 5 shots and hammerless and an actual trigger, or I mean a hammer, a holster that covers the trigger guard. So yeah. I would say not a gun with just 2 rounds of 22 Magnum. If a woman has to pull out a firearm, I want her to have at least 5 rounds, not 2 rounds.
Yeah, well, no, I agree with you. I think she should have 14 and be able to just carry a full size, high power. But that's not the world we live in. And I think for a lot of women, especially back in the 50s, where some wife just wanted something in her purse, right? Didn't matter if she could hit anything with it. It was she could pull this out. And of course, what they're designed for is a belly gun, right? If somebody gets in close to you, you can pull this out, stick it into them. There's nothing to go wrong. Boom, boom. You put 2 big holes in them at super close range. The fight's over. You're just going to walk away and they're going to lay there and bleed. That's the theory, I think, behind any kind of derringers. It's a very close range gun. It's basically belly gun.
Well, no, not any derringer. Not of normal derringers. You got to pull that hammer back so far that there's no way you could manipulate all that in somebody's gut. This one, though, yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This gun is ideal for that. And if they made it in a 38 special that would handle plus Bs, that would be a perfect little purse gun for a woman. Easy to pull out. Safe because it's got that big, long, heavy trigger pull. But yeah, in a close-in situation, if some guy's trying to rape her, she can just put that up against his chest and pull the trigger 2 or 3 times. Well, 2's all she needs, and that's all she's got. But I mean, I'm sure she'll keep pulling the trigger until he bleeds out. Wow, that went dark.
Anyways, it's kind of a neat little gun. That's interesting, and it's funny how you see all that. It's the little innovation stuff, right? Like, I mean, derringers were a thing, and then these ones decided to pivot at the front instead of the back. Like, people were still improving on the designs and trying stuff that's different. So I think that's kind of neat.
Well, they still are. I mean, they're still developing them. Look at that. There's a 4570 derringer. 4570 on top, and I think a 44 or 45 Colt and 410 on the bottom barrel. That's outrageous. Like, I can't imagine shooting a derringer in 4570. But yeah,
it's realistic. It seems like just they made it for the sake of making it.
I don't know, man. Like, they say it's like a pilot's.
What? That's definitely a bear gun. What are you talking about? Definitely.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, at a last ditch, you poke that at the bear's head and pull the trigger.
Or what if you're in the bear's stomach and you need to get out? You use that gun to get out of the bear.
Oh,
so that's. I mean, I guess if you're talking backup and stuff too, but yeah, if I'm in bear country, I don't want a derringer as being my bear gun.
Yeah, I think it made it something a pilot can have in his kit, so if he crashes.
And he loses the other 4 guns he was carrying, because I don't mess around with bears.
Anyway, that's a backup to a backup, but I can see it having that purpose. And then potentially others. I don't want to limit it. 410 as a snake gun, that's a 2-shot snake gun that can be very deliberate. And when you need to dispatch a rattler or something, it's very small. So you're not carrying around like a giant judge or a governor or something. Well, all right. That was the gun of the day. That was the whole point of the gun of the day, though, is to talk about different stuff. We've been using the videos this last couple of weeks. So Bob said you're going to be back at some stable internet. So whenever you want, you can feel free to ditch one of these or add to it. And we'll do other guns that maybe relate to something else that we're talking about like you normally do. Let's see. So we did everything else. Why don't we do the movie of the day? And none of us have seen this movie, so let's change it to audience choice. So whoever the first one is to come up with the name of a movie, that's the movie we'll talk about, as long as it's a gun movie. And while we're doing that, what else do we got? Anything else? Oh, we missed some gun history yesterday. We talked about it briefly at the beginning of the show, but then things got weird. So we missed Makarov's birthday yesterday.
Oh yeah, the 22nd of Makarov.
It wasn't the 22nd, it was 23rd, I think.
Doesn't it say the 23rd?
22nd then. I thought you said 27th.
No.
The 22nd. So we're not even getting any suggestions. Okay.
Hadi said something that actually relates to movies, but
We got
the James Bond guy died. Which one? Moore.
yeah. Yeah, one of the James Bonds.
Oh, really? He was one of the better ones. I liked him.
Of course, Bob liked Roger Moore.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was just, that was
The
James
most
Bond.
he was the most 80s of all the James Bonds.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked, oh, what's his name too? The Scottish guy.
Connery.
The first
Yeah,
Bond or
Sean
James
Connery.
Bond?
Sean Connery. I liked him. He did a really good James Bond, I thought.
You could just say the real James
Bond.
I know what you mean.
Which one do you think's the real one, G?
I just said Sean Connery is James Bond. All the other ones are replacements for James Bond.
Okay, yeah, Sean Connery. He is the quintessential James Bond, for sure. So we've settled that question.
Yep. But I don't know. Want to do a movie of the day that's the James Bond with Roger Moore? I don't know the names of all the James Bond movies. I've seen
snap.
bits and pieces of all of them, but I never know which one's which.
Yeah, that should
You
have been
gotta sit down. I think we have to get together with Smeggy and sit him down and make him watch all the James Bond movies from the first one to the last one. All
That
in
would
one.
take a long time. There's like 26 of them or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's gonna take a while, but like we'll just have lots of beer and chips. And what's it?
You would want to sit down and watch all the James Bonds.
Lots of Mountain Dew.
No, that would take too long. I don't think I could handle that.
I would need a lot of Mountain Dew to get through all that.
I don't mind watching James Bond, but I can't watch all of them at one time anymore. That's too much.
Yeah, we just lace his Mountain Dew. He'll be fine.
So I'm going through the Roger Moore's thing and looking what we got here. So this is not the way to do it. I probably should have searched for Roger Moore James Bond.
But Roger Moore didn't die, right? Wasn't the other one?
Come on, dude.
No, Roger Moore died. That's what we're talking about.
Oh no, that can't have happened. Oh, Roger Moore. Oh, okay. I don't like him as much as Sean Connery, so okay, that's fine.
All right.
Oh,
so,
you'll allow it? Okay, that's
I
good.
just lost it for a moment. Okay, it's kind of hot here.
Evan was about to send him back when they found out you didn't like it, but now that you allow it, he's going to stay up there.
It's about 80 degrees here. It's terrible hot. Ugh.
all right. So we got Live and Let Die in 1973. Then we got The Man with the Golden Gun in 1974. Then we got The Spy Who Loved Me, 1976, followed by Moonraker in 1979. Then we had For Your Eyes Only in 1981, Octopussy in 1983, and A View to a Kill in 1985. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies.
Yeah.
I like
Live
the
it-
Golden Gun one. That was pretty cool.
You know, I'm going Octopussy just because I like the name so much.
Oh, see, I thought that was not the best of all of them. That was like
Oh, it was cool. It was underwater stuff, man. I love the underwater stuff.
I really like the 1973 one, Live and Let Die. And I probably like Golden Gun also because of its old from the 70s. Spy Who Loved Me. Trying to remember that one. Then Moonraker. I didn't like Moonraker. Did you guys like Moonraker?
Yeah, I liked it because it had space shuttles in it.
And then there's Octopussy. I did not like it. That alligator lost it for me on Octopussy. It was too
Oh,
fake.
come on. The Alligator was classic spy movie.
It was fake because there was this fake non-moving alligator floating around. It was fake. And then A View to a Kill had Grace Jones in it. So, what the hell? And then For Your Eyes Only, I don't remember. Remember the song. Ship is sunk in foreign waters, superpower race, nuclear submarine control system, thrust in the most riveting adventures to join the search, global disaster. So that's another one of the underwater ones, it sounds like. Bob must have.
No, not kind of, but not really. I mean, not like the other one was. I mean, it was Octopussy was just off the scale, cool underwater stuff. That's like we've only discovered 13% of the life under the oceans, right? 13%.
Okay.
I'm sure that has to do with guns somehow.
Yeah.
Not sure how, but I'm sure what he's saying is there's octopus using guns underwater somewhere.
They
We just haven't
were.
discovered it yet.
They're using spear guns and stuff. But now think about it. The deeper you go, the higher the pressures are. What do you use at really high pressure? What will work to get through that water that's almost solid at that kind of pressure?
James Bond gadget?
So, well, I'm just wondering. That's a good gun question. At really deep depths, what do you use to protect yourself from crazy sea creatures that want to mate or eat you?
I think the only things down there are transparent. So, flashlight?
We don't know half of what's down there, man. Like I say, we've only discovered like a percentage of the sea life on the bottom of the ocean. We've discovered less of that than we have the planets.
Yeah, but we're pretty sure that most of the stuff that is down there is all just like gooey stuff that floats around. I mean, you got the six-gilled sharks and the other things, but most of them are all just gooey things that float around.
All kinds of stuff that they've never seen before. Like I say, we've discovered such a small percentage. You go, oh, well, I've seen 10% of the life on this planet. I'll deem it safe because I'm in Pasadena. The only thing I see is fluffy cats and little tiny.
All right. Jesus, this isn't fucking Nature Channel.
I don't know how.
You're wrong.
I'm Roger Moore. So, out of respect for Roger Moore, we'll apologize for Bob.
Yes, really. Sorry, Roger.
All right, so let's see. How do we rein that back? That was the gun. That was the movie of the day. Every day we try to talk about a gun-related movie. Today, since he died and he is James Bond, 7 movies? He gets all the respect due to James Bond for 7 movies, and we talked about those 7 movies. So I don't know what movie is your favorite out of those, but recommend that you go watch one of them. That guy, well, it's pretty cool. I mean, he seemed like he had a stick up his butt or something compared to some of the other James Bonds, but he still did a pretty good job. He must have been good enough to do 7 movies. I don't know who his competition was. Anyway, maybe it's worth somebody doing a James Bond chat. I can tell you, I did a James Bond chat a while back. I don't even remember anymore when. And we talked about the girls of James Bond, maybe the guns, but I think it was the girls of James Bond. And that had like the most views I've had on a video in a long, long time. So people were definitely interested in talking about James Bond. So if you're looking for some kind of a topic for content of something to do on whatever it is that you do, podcast or YouTube videos or blog or hangout or whatever it might be, then consider having a James Bond chat. Lots and lots of people have lots and lots of different opinions on those things. Who stuck this gun history in here?
I'm not sure. Maybe Dano.
Dano must have did it.
I blame him for a lot of stuff.
Well, we can thank him for this one today. It looks like, oh, well, I think he added it to my other thing, but Bonnie and Clyde were killed by police in 1934. That must have happened today in history.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's an interesting fact. And do we know what gun shot the most amount of ammunition at them? Was it the BARs or was it the Remington Model 8s?
Ugh, I never asked such a creepy question.
Oh, the Thompsons, right? Because they had Thompsons.
Silver bullet killed them more. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, they had like 30 bullets in them each, so I'm pretty sure it'd be really hard to figure out which one like killed them.
They didn't have them at the gunfighter thing, huh? That was too modern for that.
No, it's too modern, yeah.
So looking at the website that we like to look at, it says that the 30 Years' War began. I don't know when that was, but it was in 1618, so I guess that has nothing to do with us. 1785, Benjamin Franklin, who we do care about, announced the invention of bifocals. So that's when FUD started. They could start looking.
Shut up. There's nothing wrong with bifocals.
They could start reading and writing shit to each other really tiny. So lots of rules.
Be able to see.
Sean Connery talked about it earlier, but South Carolina became the 8th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution, and that was in 1788. Little did they know that a mere, what are we talking?
There's no way to know.
140 years.
230, 40 something years later, night strike. Do you think it's possible that they they scribbled in South Carolina, like South and then Carolyna.
Mm. Hey, I found a little town in Saskatchewan I'm going to move into called Maryfield.
Okay, then. So if you're listening from Maryfield, get out now.
Yeah, because property prices will drop. I'll get a house even cheaper. But yeah, I need a base, and yeah, man, little small town.
Says here in 1934, gangsters Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow were killed by Texas Rangers. So now we know they were killed in Texas. And I'm looking at who was born. Doesn't look like anybody important was born. Well, a bunch of people were born, but I don't know who any of them are. So we'll keep moving. So that was a little bit of history. And let us know what you think of the history segment. Some people, well, we don't know if people like it or not. I like it. Some people don't like it. So I'm curious to see what the audience thinks.
Well, I kind of like it. The odd time there's something I don't know about. So it's always nice to learn something new. And
I think of the show, we're not trying to wow everybody with our knowledge or nothing. We're just trying to I'd like to make it a useful thing. I like to think of it as like the Farmer's Almanac. Like if you listen to it, it's worth your while because you can walk away with a little something to talk about the rest of the day or tomorrow. And then we're not necessarily worrying about what the news is telling us to talk about. We talk about what we as a group came up with, with the Patreon people once a month. So we're doing stuff that has nothing to do with the news of the day. It's just gun related. And like I say, some of this stuff like the gun shop of the day and the movie of the day and the history of the day is just to give people conversation topics and give us some feedback on that. We've actually had some internal debates here on whether or not some of these things are useful and if they're worth pursuing. So some of these segments. So give us some feedback on the segments. We're always interested.
We're definitely getting a lot of history good comments coming in.
Oh, you mean immediately here in the live comment?
Right. But we'll definitely look for comments in the future also once this turns into just a regular video.
Yeah. Because I like it. Like I say, the odd time I've a nugget of information I didn't know before, and I love that.
Well, you just like reminiscing with your childhood, like that whole 1680 or whatever one.
Or maybe it just reignites that memory cell that's starting to get kind of dim. Hey, it all works, and there's nothing better than knowing shit.
It's like a service to the older community that we do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's shit for us to remember or remember anew, and all that stuff is good for your brain. The more activity you can give your brain, the better. So yeah, get active with your brain, not just your body.
Oh, did we just have a surprise healthy tip of the day?
Yes, we did.
Work out your brain.
Timer healthy tip.
Yeah, I snuck that one in. Sorry, guys. It just came to me.
All right. Well, I'm going to leave that sitting right there. 367. We have it marked down this time. That's how many hashtag Daily Gun Show posts there are over on Instagram. So we thank everybody who's participating with that. It is a way that we help get the word out there. It's a way we participate with everybody that's having fun. Hopefully we encourage some people to get their cameras out, or at least use the cameras on their phone. Turn on that Instagram, which has to be one of the easiest of all the social media platforms to use. It's at least the third, if not the second most popular instant social media platform out there, which means that you can pretty easily get familiar, catch your bearings with one of the largest platforms out there. In other words, start getting out there with your training wheels on a very well-used platform and see what it is, what there is to it. So we're only saying take some pictures. They don't even really have to be of guns. You can see sometimes they're not even of guns. You just include the number sign or the hashtag, and then without any spaces, Daily Gun Show. And when you include that in the description of the picture that you post up there, it'll get automatically included in that list that we looked at earlier. And every Tuesday, we'll look back at the week's worth of collected pictures and chat about them. So if you want, you can leave us a comment, or you can email us, dailygunshow@gmail.com, to let us know something special about a picture that you put out there or something, or if you want to come on the show and talk about something. There's always that opportunity. Otherwise, I think we're done with today's show. No, we're not. Richard does Richard's Life as I See It on Saturdays, and he had a pretty interesting troll. And I meant to talk about this the other day, but like I say, we had some other stuff happen yesterday. So I am going to. Oh, it wasn't Richard. It was Big Gunner, Rick. So Rick does his show on Tuesdays. There, I'm screen sharing now, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so Big Gunner did this video, and it's of this Chinese-made AR-15 rail or something in that box there. And he was telling us about this, and I just thought it was funny. So every once in a while, if you've got a YouTube channel and you're producing content on a regular basis, you don't have to be huge. Rick has 1.8 thousand subscribers, so while that might seem like a lot, it's, you know, some people might say that's not very many. But even at the 1,000 or 2,000 subscriber level, and we're not subscribed. No, he has one more. So at the 2,000 subscriber level, he's having people ask him to review their product. So there's always going to be that potential. I'm sure that if you go to his YouTube channel and you look at the About page, that he more than likely has an email address that you can contact him. And if you're not taking advantage of this, then you should, because you know, I just clicked on a thing there. If I show that I'm not a robot, they'll let me take a look at his email so that I can contact him. And somebody took advantage of that and asked him if he would review these parts for AR-15s. And he's doing that big 50 states of AR project. So obviously that worked out for him. So he got these parts and he was doing the review. I won't get into it. He does a 16-minute review. You can watch the review if you want. I guess I'll put a link out there for anybody that wants to follow along. That would be part of this whole interactivity thing that we keep talking about. So anybody wants to jump over there now and look at his comments. He basically said something about like the wrench didn't work or something didn't work. It didn't really work out very well. And the wrench that came with it didn't even like mesh with the gear ratio or the spacing of the
yeah, something with the barrel nut was weird or something. I forget exactly what he said.
So then he gets this guy named Slade Weird, right? I don't know even if that's a real word or if it's what it is. But then he goes, you know, it's just had this weird interaction, and it's almost like a mix of, what do you call that? Like broken English, I guess, you know, mixed with like just a foreigner, right? Like not understanding our way that we talk.
Pig Latin?
No, it's just like a translation.
Like the disconnect
thing
that you get when it, yeah, like the translation mixed with the just cultural disconnect. So it's just kind of funny. And anyway, it was just an interesting conversation. I don't know why I'm not relating it here real well, but if you want to, it was just kind of interesting. Rick does a lot of stuff over on gun channels, and he was over hanging out in an evening chat, and we talked about this. So I threw the link in there. So it was just kind of neat that these guys came in and kind of gave him a little shit, I guess. It's hard to say. Like I say, it's really hard because they say, and you probably called them and asked them to donate the product, and you're pissed you got junk. Stay off, wish, LOL. You know, so it's like, what does that even mean, right? I don't know if he's trying to be negative or if he's trying to, you know, be funny or what. So I think Rick just is you know, a very well-natured guy, so just an interesting interaction there. And I don't know, I just thought it was interesting, and that's one of those things on YouTube that you have to deal with when you're creating content. You're going to have odd and interesting culture clash. I don't know what to call it. Just
well, that's what I've always said. If you're going to put yourself out on the internet, you better have thick skin, because people are going to say nasty things about you, and it's just like, yeah, they're sitting behind a keyboard. They can say whatever they want. Doesn't matter to me. I mean, you know, that's you just have to have
so much. I guess this wasn't so much mean as it just was odd and, you know, kind of weird.
Right. Well, it definitely, the dude, he starts off as like, I watched this review on accident, and I have to say I've reviewed lots of products that weren't up to mil spec, and there are a lot better ways to comment and unfortunate defects, and usually started out with professionalism. Like, no, dude, you work for that company. Like, he basically was calling Big Gunner out for being, you know, unprofessional, because he said some negative things about the product, and from what it sounded like, he was just like, oh, I don't really like this part of it. That's kind of weird. I wish that would have been better. And they're like, you're so sloppy and unprofessional. But it's just weird phrasing. I'll let you guys read the whole things together, but I just find it funny that it's like, yeah, dude, we know you're not just some random person that.
Oops.
But anyways, yeah, it's just interesting. I guess that's what you deal with on the internets.
That's why I say you have to have thick skin. I mean, I've had some bad comments on my videos, and I've had lots actually, but I don't care.
I want to put these though. It's not. I don't want to. I just want to reiterate. It's not that it's negative as much as it was just odd. That's all. I was just talking about because it's odd. It's not like he was trying to start anything, and he immediately like apologized because he was. He's like, "Oh, I'm not trying to start anything." That's why I thought it was interesting because it's just sort of the way. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought it's a neat facet. We get to talk to people from all over the world, and sometimes they're like Bob, where you can understand them. Sometimes, and most of the time, they're not. They're kind of weird.
Well, you get somebody like Mika. I mean, I'll tell you what. The really funny thing is, it's way easier to understand him in person than on the internet, right? Because on the internet, all he's got is the words that are coming out of his mouth, basically. And when you meet him in person, it's you're talking to a person. So, I mean, it's just conversation is just fine. It flows like as if he's speaking perfect English, right?
Yeah, but we were talking to him at the range, and he was maybe tired. But when we're talking to him on the internet, he's usually done for the day and like drink.
No. I sat there with him, after like I say, we spent the night drinking beer in the camper and talking. So yeah, but yeah, maybe it's just the beer makes conversation more easier. I don't know.
More better.
Wait,
More
you're saying
Beer make more better good things, huh?
Beer make everything better.
you're saying alcohol is a social lubricant? Interesting.
Oh,
Beer make Bob talk good, eh?
Yeah.
Beer make Bob talk more. Beer make Bob talk louder. Those are true statements.
I am back home and, back to Canadian beer instead of the American beer, which there's really not that much difference anymore.
I got a bunch of free Bob beers in my refrigerator. I drank one the other day. I didn't like it.
Bud Lights.
Yeah. Very watery. I haven't drank in a long time, but I usually drink beer. It's like probably with Smeggy and Hosh. No, wait, probably in SHOT Show. Did I drink any beers in SHOT Show? Or I probably drank that one night when we were sitting in that bar. Right?
Yeah.
When everybody was listening to the music. So,
yeah.
I didn't. Anyway, I haven't drank in a long time, but usually when I do, it's with Hosh or somebody, and it's like, oh, here, drink this snooty beer. It's fancy.
Yeah.
So it's flavorful or whatever.
Oh, yeah, flavorful and thick and heavy and, yeah.
So what's going on Gun Channels tonight?
All right, so, yeah, let's talk about Gun Channels tonight.
Gonna miss Susan at 9 o'clock?
Uh-oh, somebody's got to get going. I forgot about
Big Gunner right after that.
That's true. We were just talking about Big Gunner. His show is on Tuesdays. He had a fancy TV star on here last week. We don't know what he's going to do this week. What kind of TV star did you guys have on? What show was the TV star that was a guest of your show?
That one that doesn't exist.
The Night Strike show?
Well, I would think if anything, it'd be the Smeggy show. I mean, that's got to be worth your price of admission right there.
I'm trying to get Steven Crowder, but G doesn't like him.
I don't even know who it is, so whatever. Go ahead and get anybody you want, Bob. Nobody's stopping you. I don't think you've ever mentioned bringing somebody on before.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking about Gun Channels tonight. Like Smeggy said, his show with Night Strike is in about 3 minutes, I think. It's at 9 o'clock Eastern. No.
Yeah, 9 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, I thought it was 9 o'clock Central. You guys are Eastern?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. So 9 Eastern, and then an hour after that or so is when Heavy starts, or when Big Gunner starts up.
Which that'd be 9 o'clock Central.
There you go, 9 o'clock.
So if you really want to get confused, all Tuesday night shows start at 9 o'clock.
Well, I think from now on we should have Smeggy doing all our dates and start times, because he could do it on a spreadsheet. It'd be no problem for him.
Well, as a matter of fact, if you go over to gun channels and hit live schedule,
Yep.
there's a decent one there. Although I was going to add a couple, and my computer was being weird this weekend, so I forgot to ever add it because it kept like freezing up, and I had to restart and update and do a bunch of crap.
We probably have Travis on Saturday and Rick on Saturday.
That's what I was trying to add, yeah. And it was freezing up.
So we did the tactical quiz this weekend, Bob, for the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday nights. It went all right. We'll be doing that on Saturdays now.
Okay. Well, if I can, I'll try to jump in or, maybe try to be a contestant and win something.
I try to be a contestant because I want to have a bunch of brainiacs in there to try to make it as interesting as possible and difficult as possible.
Probably don't want me to.
All right, well, so that was Gun Channels tonight. I think we should talk about beers again, or maybe we should just end the show.
I don't know. I'm not even drinking. Yeah.
That was episode 317. This is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. It'll be episode 318. See how that works? It'll be CCW topics. We'll select ammo for your CCW carry gun. We'll take care of that for you. Entertainment segment of the show, we're going to talk about guns on vehicles in TVs and movies. On TV and movies, we will talk about, we'll have the tactical quiz, or maybe we won't. I don't know what we're going to do on Wednesdays. We should probably reorganize the show. Tomorrow after the show, the remaining hosts will get together and figure out what's going on with the show.
Yep.
We encourage everybody who's enjoying the show to check us out over on Patreon. Our goal really is to be supported by our audience, and at this point, that has been accomplished. However, we're funded to the $78 a month mark. So we did get a new Patreon yesterday, and then we lost a Patreon. So we went up to like $82 and we went back down to $78. While that, it does pay for most of the shipping, and it pays for all the shipping currently. It doesn't pay for the shipping once we start adding the tactical quiz and the fabulous prizes that'll be much larger to ship. It won't even cover shipping. So we're definitely not covering all the costs. So if you are interested in seeing what the show could blossom into, and you want to be part of that and you're willing to contribute to that, check us out on Patreon. We have a link in the description of our wherever we're posting anything. I guess I could probably put a link out there in the today's show notes as well. So that is tomorrow's show. We'll be back at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. And I'm guessing Bob has a quote in there. We will end it up with that.
All right, so nobody has anything else. We'll just end this with our quote as usual. Before that, I want to remind everybody, please share, thumbs up, and subscribe. Become part of the show. It's the People's Gun Show. But anyway, this quote is by George Mason. George Mason. And to disarm the people is the most effectual way to enslave them. Let's keep those words in mind next time they try to take away our gun rights. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow.
The guys and gals at gun websites would like to remind you.
Urge you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.